BookTube, it's Lori from Bookishly Lori, and today I'm going to bring you guys the 90s music book tag. This is the third time I filmed this tag. I've been having the worst luck with my camera and not having enough storage on my computer to edit, and it's just been a huge headache, but finally, hopefully, this will be the final version. Third time's a charm. Let's get into it. Before I start, I want to let you guys know that this tag was created and I was also tagged by What Reading Does and A Books Neverland, so I will link them down below for their blogs and this original tag that they started. Thank you guys so much for tagging me. I think this is such a fun idea. I am sorry that it took me so long. So let's get right into the questions. Question number 1, What's My Age Again by Blink-182. What age did you discover your love of reading? So I discovered my love of reading in elementary school. I was one of those kids that when I was a baby, my parents read to me, and so I grew up loving reading, and my mom actually worked in a library when I was growing up, so I spent a lot of time during the summer with her, and I just always loved reading. I still have very fond memories of being in first grade and taking our first class trip to the library to pick out our first book and check out our book, and yeah, from the very beginning when I was able to read, I have always loved reading, so started at an early age. Question number 2, All Star by Smash Mouth. What is your favorite genre? My favorite genre is contemporary. I specifically really love hard-hitting contemporary, contemporary that has a message. And I like fantasy, I like horror, I like poetry, I like all other genres really. It just depends on if the synopsis really interests me and I can connect to the characters. That's the main thing for me. I really am a character-focused writer, so any genre, if it has compelling characters, I would pick that over storyline or anything like that. I have to care about the characters. So, yeah. That's why I usually like contemporary, because I find contemporary without any kind of other world building elements or fantasy setups or magic systems, they are forced to really focus on the characters most times. Question number 3, Breakfast at Tiffany's by Deep Blue Something. What is your go-to reading snack or drink? So I don't really eat while I read. It's just I don't typically do that. But I do like to drink coffee or drink tea while I read sometimes, but I don't really do that very often. I often just maybe drink a little bit of water, but yeah, I don't really eat or drink while I read. Next question, Give It Away by Red Hot Chili Peppers. What book do you always recommend to people? So I just feel like it is kind of hard to recommend a book to anyone, especially if you don't know them very well, but I think a book that I would recommend to anyone that I feel like most people would like would be A Perks of Being a Wallflower. I feel like this is like the essential coming of age, growing up story, and I think everyone would enjoy it if they haven't already read it. I mean, it is a difficult book to read. There's some tough subjects that it covers, but I feel like it's a beautiful story, and I feel like everyone can definitely relate to something in that story. Next question is A Baby One More Time by Britney Spears, a book or series that you have read more than once. So I don't reread things very often, but I have reread Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, I think twice now. I just absolutely love that series, and I'm trying to get more into Leigh Bardugo and finish her Grisha series right now. And as far as my contemporary authors that I reread a lot, I love Lori Halse Anderson. I've reread Speak and Winter Girls by her a few times now. So yeah, when I do reread, I make sure I reread my favorites. Next question, Tearing Up My Heart by NSYNC. A book that broke your heart to finish. I mean, if you know, you know. So, if you're not familiar with this is the last saga. Saga is a graphic novel series that I have been reading and devouring for a few years now, and I just absolutely love Saga. It's a kind of like space drama, Romeo and Juliet retelling. Basically these two people from, well, aliens from two different planets that are at war fall in love, and they're not supposed to, and they have a child, and they have to go on the run and hide, because if people find out that they were able to have a child, it would make it seem like these two planets can get along, and for financial reasons and politics and all that, that would not be good. So they are on the run and being hunted by various bounty hunters. So yeah, I absolutely love this series, but without giving any spoilers, if you have made it up to this volume, you know that the ending is very heartbreaking, and it's especially hurtful because Saga is on a hiatus right now, so we have no clue what happens after this huge cliffhanger. So absolutely broke my heart for sure. And the last question, oh, 2 more questions. So the next question is Crush by Jennifer Page. Who was your first bookish crush? I would have to say Klaus from the series of Unfortunate Events. I read this book series when I was like 5th grade, 6th grade age, and I just loved Klaus so much because he was bookish and he had read his parents' whole library, and like he was kind of cute in the illustrations, I guess. So, like, that was like my first bookish crush, I suppose. But like if we're talking like actual crush, like middle school age, like Twilight days, it was Jacob. I was Team Jacob. I was that girl. And the last question, Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. A book that you read as a teen that you still love today. So I wanted to show you guys this book of poetry. It's called Falling Hard, 100 Love Poems by Teens, and it was edited by Betsy Franco. And you've probably never seen this book, never heard of it before, but this was a collection of 100 poems, all written by different teens, and I just thought it was so cool at the time. I got this when I was like 15 or 16, and it's written by teens of all different backgrounds and different ethnicities and different identities, and so it was really interesting at the time being exposed to that, and it has one of my favorite poems of all time in it, actually. So I just want to read a little snippet of it, if you guys don't mind. My favorite poem one of my favorite poems of all time, like I said, is in this book. It was written by Diana Huang, and she was 18 when she wrote this, and it was published in here. And I'm only going to read you guys the last 2 paragraphs. So it's all about like longing and imagining someone and like unrequited love. And so the last 2 stanzas say, Our eyes are closed, you utter, how are you, and wait for my belated response like a gentleman waiting for his lady to walk into a room beside him. I mumble, I'm enjoying you. I love you, I love you. Our raspy voices collide, but like all dreams and like all baths, the warmth eventually drains away. So I absolutely love this collection of poetry. It just means so much to me. I read it as a teen and I still love it today. I still kind of like sometimes go back and flip through it. I feel like poetry collections are so special to keep because I have some like dog-eared tabs, which is something I never do, but for this book I do. Because it's interesting to go back and read a poetry collection. I feel like every time you read a poetry collection, different poems resonate with you than maybe the poems that had the first time you read it. So yeah, it's definitely very interesting to go back and reread poetry. So that was the 90s music book tag. If you would like to do this tag as well, all the questions linked below, and consider yourself tagged so that you can participate as well. I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you so much for watching. So I will see you on my next video, and remember, enjoy the journey. Bye. The day that you went away.